want to tell you to trust your journey. I don't know if you are in life at this moment going through something and you are thinking that, why me? Why this is happening? But I have to tell you to trust your journey. And I'm going to share with you some stories from my childhood that has shown me that it's really important to trust your journey in life. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm thankful that you came. So I'm going to share with you. The first story I want to share is my father as a rum sucker. Growing up with a rum sucker father is not an easy feat. You live in constant fear because of just the fact that you do not know the uncertainty. You do not know how your father will behave every time he comes home. And because you don't know, there is so much uncertainty. And imagine, uncertainty for children is different for uncertainty for adults. As a child, if you're going through uncertainty, it rocks your world. As an adult, you might be able to find ways to cope. My father would come in. If the food is not done, he takes the pot off of the stove and throw it through the window. I remember as children, we had to take the knives and the forks, anything that can be weaponized, any kitchen utensil that can be weaponized had to be hidden in the sand. Now, what am I going to do with this story? That's what I'm saying. What am I going to do with this story? What's the purpose of this story? Why am I telling you this story? I'm telling you this story because this story has taught me lessons in life. One, this story has shown me that I do not want a husband who has the tendency to be addicted to anything. That was the purpose of that story in my life. If you have a story like this in your life and you've been spending your time just saying to yourself, why me? Why this is happening to me? Why this has to be in my life? I am saying to you, trust the journey and embrace the story. It is okay. You are going to be better as a result of having a father like that. What it does is it informs you about who you would like to have in your life as a husband and who you wouldn't like to have. So you see, there is still some good even in that story. Story number 2 that I want to tell you that trust your journey and embrace the stories of your life is scrubbing people's step for money. One of the ways that I really got money was by scrubbing people's step with a scraper and a brush sometimes. Now, sometimes when I'm scrubbing the step, I would miss parts. You know, you're scrubbing and they want the step to be red. When you're finished scrubbing with that scraper, the step must be red. All the sides of the step, the front board and the other side, they want it all to be so red. The first thing is, I used to scrub the step of this woman and I had liked her son. Can you imagine liking someone's son, but you're the girl who comes to scrub the step? Yes, I'm the girl who comes to scrub the step, but I love, good morning Sandrine, but I love the woman's son. The boy didn't even watch me twice because I am the girl who comes to scrub the step, okay? And I would scrub that step. And when I'm finished, the woman has to come to look at the step to see if the step is scrubbed properly. And if it is not scrubbed properly, guess what? She would say to me, do it again. Go back there. Do that piece again. Do that piece until it looks exactly the way she wanted it. What's the purpose of this story? This story has taught me discipline in life. It has taught me that if you're doing something for someone, give it your best. Give it 100. Please the people you're serving. If you are a person and you are in any kind of service, whether you're a shopkeeper, whether you are a nurse, whatever you embrace as a part of who you are, give the best to the people you are serving, because it is not really about you. It's not you who matter. It's the kind of job you're doing. It's if you're giving all that you have, and then they're saying, thank you, this is well done. It's about serving to the best of your ability. That's what I got from that story. I also got from that story that there are so many ways to have income. You don't have to depend on a singular way to have income. I was able to buy panties. I was able to buy all the little things that I needed as a child because of scrubbing someone's step. Yes. The next story I want to teach you is, the next lesson I want to tell you about is, when I was about 9 years old, my grandmother used to walk us from Kingley Village to a place called Fowles. If you're not Barbadian, you will not understand that distance. But let me see if I can tell you in a few villages. From Kingley, you have to pass a place named Phoenix, 37, Cottage, Litchfield, 41, 42. You got to pass Rising Sun. You got to pass, you keep going till you reach Fowles, almost just before the Barry Bridge. We used to walk. I was about between 7 to 9, and we would walk and go and haul shrimp. Hauling shrimp, let me tell you what that means. There is something called a seine. It has 2 sticks, and it's like a cast net, but it's just like, I don't even know how to explain what a seine is, but it's something that you drag in the water. So she would hold a stick. My grandmother would go in the water. I would be at the end in the mud. I can see myself now walking through the tall grass right there at the end. And barefoot, we're walking barefoot from Kingley to Fowles to haul shrimp. And she would be there, and I'm in the corner. And she would know when it's season for hauling shrimp. I don't know, my grandmother would look up at the moon. And when she look up at the moon, she would know that, okay, shrimp a run. You understand? She would say shrimp a run. And when she says shrimp a run, you know that by 3-4 o'clock in the morning, you got to go. You go in there. She go early. But perhaps like 1 o'clock, we would go. We got a jug lamp, and we gone and we would haul shrimp. And we would catch a lot of shrimp. You understand? We would catch shrimp. And we bring that shrimp home. Some of it we sold fresh shrimp. Some of it she would parch it. Like you just put it in water, and then it gets red, and then you take it out, you mix it with salt, and you can either pick it or put it to dry just like that to sell it. What's the purpose of that story? The purpose of that story is, 1, life is seasonal. My grandmother knew when was the season for hauling shrimp, and she made the most of that season. You have to look at your life. Good morning, Felix. Yes, life is seasonal. The season that you're in now, whatever that season is, I want you to know it will not last forever. There are seasons that you have to make the most of. You have to look and know when is the best time to haul shrimp. I'm just using that as a metaphor to say when is the best time to seize the opportunity in life. And you have to go and get it. Sometimes it will not be easy to get to your goal. Sometimes the distance that you have to go to achieve your goal is not the same that somebody has to go. So when you see somebody achieve something in life, understand that they may have gone to Fowles and you just want to go to Phoenix. If you decide that you're just going to go to Phoenix, but they decide that they're going to Fowles, guess what? fowls will give them there. We always say, not look at what people have because you don't know what they did to get it. That is so true. Some people are going to fowls to get what they need to get in life. You cannot just want to go to Phoenix, which is a nearby village, and expect that you will get the same outcome as somebody who decided that they are going to go a farther distance in life. That's the lesson I want to leave with you. But what I really want to leave with you is that life is seasonal. Life is really seasonal. The way you are today, you're not going to be like this all the days of your life. Make the most of your season. You see, there are some people, they want to haul out of season. They want to wait till shrimp now run and then they think they can go and haul. But you can't haul when shrimp now run, because if you choose to haul when shrimp now run, you will not catch anything. You have the season of hauling, and you have the season of selling, and you have the season of resting in life. You have to know your seasons, and you have to do in the appropriate season if you want to get certain results out of life. You see some people, the season of hauling, they're using that season to just loll off. If it's the season of hauling and you decide that you're just going to loll off, you're not going to go and haul, guess what? Another person might be hauling when they are resting. Sometimes you too old now to go and haul. You can't go and haul, your season pass. If there's anything I want you to take from life, is that understand that you have to make the most of the season. Life is seasonal. Understand that to get to your goal sometimes will take a different journey than someone else. That's what I learned from that lesson. That's what I take from that lesson. The fourth story I want to share with you is, as a child, I did not have underwear. I wouldn't say I didn't have underwear. I would say that what I would do is people would give me their old pantyhose. And when they give me their pantyhose, what I would do, I used to cut off when the pantyhose strand, and not just when it's strand. When the pantyhose strand, or they would say like it would have a run in it, guess what? We see the book in different ways. It's so true. The pantyhose had run, and they would take the Q-tips and they would, try to stop the strand. When it reached a stage where they couldn't stop the strand anymore, it had too many strands and they strand too much way down, they would give me the pantyhose and I would cut off the feet and I would make panty. I used to feel so good when somebody would call me and they would say, I have a few pantyhose for you, and I would take them and I would cut off the foot and I would make my panties with them. First thing, your stories are your stories in life, and you have to embrace your stories. This is your journey. The second thing, before I tell you the message of the story, is that you choose what you're going to do with the stories of your life. It's up to you to decide if you're going to sit and complain about the fact that I didn't have panty, nobody didn't give me panty, I had to wear pantyhose. That's it. You choose. It is your choice what you do with the stories of your life. You can complain about the stories, or you can let the stories teach you. You can sit in the middle of your stories and think about all the misery and all the things that you didn't get and all that you didn't experience. Or you can say, wow, I've come a long way. Life has given me some beautiful gifts in terms of my story. You can choose that. It's up to you to choose. Every single story that you have right now, I am talking to you. Every story that you have right now, I want you to take a second look at the stories of your life, the stories of what people have done to you, the stories of who did for you and who didn't do for you and who was supposed to do for you, the stories of those who betrayed you, those who showed up as crab dog and dirty dog and covetous dog, all the different kind of dog, all those stories. I want you to look at those stories in a different light today. I want you to shift your thinking. I want you to think now, why did these stories, why did they come to me? Why did life allow me to have these experiences? It's because life wants to make you more human. You see, your story is not really your story. Your story is the story of the world. We get a chance to see that our stories are not singular. I am not the only person who have gone through my stories. But if I keep my mouth shut and I don't say anything, then I will have the tendency to believe that what has happened to me has happened only to me and to no one else. But when I open my mouth and I share my story, I am sharing our story. I'm actually sharing our story because it's not just my story only. What is the lesson of wearing pantyhose as panties? Well, that is the lesson of being resourceful in life. Life is about being resourceful. You have to be able to successfully navigate the uncertainties of life. You have to be able to look at the situations and the circumstances that you're faced with and know exactly what is the path that you are going to take. You have to decide when life throws you no panty, how you're going to make panty with pantyhose. Or if life gives you pantyhose, you have to make panty. It's the same thing. If life gives you lemon, make swank. Whatever life has given you, it's a gift. It's a gift to help you to live your best life. Because of the fact that I had to wear pantyhose as panty, it has increased my creativity, my ability to see things where things do not even exist, my ability to look at something that you see nothing in and use it for something else. What is it that you are faced with right now? What is that situation that you are saying there is no solution to it? I want you to shift your thinking. Shift your thinking. Shift the way you're looking at the situation. Start thinking, there must be a way out of this. There must be a solution to this. Start thinking, I am a solution-oriented person. Nothing comes to me that I do not have a solution for. Start thinking like that, and you will see that you will be able to surmount whatever it is that life has given you. Okay? And the final lesson I want to share with you today, the final story, is the story of making wallpaper from newspaper. You see, I grew up where the house had holes in it. The house we lived in. Well, one of the houses, because I've lived in many houses. There were holes in the wall, and you could actually peep through the wall and see what's going on in the village by peeping through the wall. So what we used to do, we had a process of making wallpaper. The first thing we will do is roll up the newspaper. And when we finish rolling up the newspaper, We would put it in the creases like putty. And then we will take big sheets of newspaper. We would make starch. We used to have something called cassava starch. And what you do is you boil it and it becomes thick. And you can use it for starching your clothing, or you can use it as paste for wallpaper. If we didn't have cassava starch, we used to use flour paste. And if we didn't have flour paste, we used to use something called gamma cherry, which is a fruit from a tree, and you take it, you burst it when it's ripe, and it actually is a glue, all right? So we would make these wallpaper for the wall, and the entire wall will have all these newspapers, just newspaper all over, all over, all over, all over, newspaper, and that's our wallpaper. Now, I can take this story and I can say, why didn't I grow up with more privilege? Why did I grow up in a situation where I had to make my own wallpaper out of newspaper? Why wasn't I more privileged? Now, I was more privileged in my earlier life, but because my father was a rum sucker, it changed everything. And that is why it's really important in life to ensure that if you have a vision, marry someone who share your vision. Marry someone who has the same goal and the same vision like you. It will be easier for the two of you to achieve in life. You could have the biggest dreams, the biggest whatever it is in life. And if you hook up with somebody whose parent did not teach them the same values like your parent has taught you, it could be over for you. That is why marriage is crucial. And who you choose to hook up with can either build you or break you. I say that as another lesson in there too. But let's get back to the newspaper. So there's the newspaper on the wall. I have no books. I love reading, but there are no books. Guess what? On the wall is my library. On the wall is the library of my life. Words galore. A print-rich environment was created for me from newspaper on the wall. And every day as I meander from the living room to the kitchen, because there was just a long hallway, and I'm seeing it now and I'm even feeling teary-eyed as I think about it. As I meander from the living room to the kitchen, because they're calling me to come and cut up the seasoning to put in the chicken foot, because you know we used to sell chicken foot, or they're calling me to come and stir the fudge, or they're just calling me for something else. I linger in this long hallway and I'm taking in the words. I'm soaking in the vocabulary from the only book I know. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling so. But it's so true. The only book I know is the book of newspaper on the wall. And I'm soaking in all of that. And that is becoming my library. It's becoming my books. It's becoming my life. That is my introduction to having a rich vocabulary. Right there. Right there. So what am I saying to you? I am saying to you, rethink the way you look at your stories. Rethink all the things that have happened to you. And stop wallowing in the stories of your life. They might not all be beautiful. Some of them might bring you to tears. But they're your stories. Embrace your stories. Let your stories strengthen you. Whether they be stories of the abuse you've gone through, whether they be stories that you are too ashamed to tell. They are your stories. This is your life. And guess what? It is you who decide how you rewrite your story. It is you who decide how you embrace your stories. But one of the things that I know for sure is that if we choose not to embrace our stories, we are choosing not to live our most authentic life. You cannot be authentic without embracing the stories of your life. They are your stories. And this is your journey that life has given you. So I say to you, embrace the journey. It is beautiful. It is a blessing. It brings us closer to humanity. And it helps us to know that in all our differences, we are still beautiful human beings. Have a great day. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it so much. Please remember to share if you think someone can benefit from this. And remember to go over to YouTube. Thank you, Deborah. And to subscribe. Yes. And thank you for listening. I appreciate that. Take care, beautiful ones. It is still a beautiful world, as we learned in the Desiderata. Take care. Bye.